Peace from the East, y'all. It's me, Davon Raymond, aka Vonnie. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast, here hosted on the Davon Raymond X YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe so you can check out the other content that I make. Lazy vlogs being one of the things that I do that has been popping off lately, which is awesome. I like that I can be lazy. Look at me. Look at my face and hair and bedroom. I am lazy, obviously. So doing lazy vlogs really works for me. And we're getting a text message from Rip Curl, a surf brand that I don't know why I'm getting their automated texts about promotional items. I should really remove myself from that text. I think you guys ever scroll on Instagram, and this is so sad. You scroll on Instagram and you see like an ad from like a surfing channel or whatever the channel is, and they go, send a text to this number or sign up for this giveaway and then you could win or whatever. And then, you type in your information or it's like automatically saved and you just hit like submit. I want to win the giveaway. Submit to the giveaway. And then they just text you forever and ever and ever about, board wax and stuff. We got these new surfboards that you're never going to be able to afford. Do you want to buy one? It's like, obviously not. Even if I could afford the best of the best surfboard, I haven't had enough time in the ocean to build confidence for surfing to really be able to ride one of those around other people. Like, I could ride one myself and take the risk, but when you ride like a fiberglass board, like a proper surfboard, you'll see in competition surfing, like with the WSL. And if you're not into surfing, I promise this isn't going to be all about surfing. Sometimes when I watch Bill Burr's podcast, I get so bored. I'm just like, oh no, he's talking about sports. Oh my God. It's so boring. Like, oh, the Bruins. God, shut up about the Bruins already, Bill. We love you, but Christ, who cares? I remember watching the 1987 game. Fucking boring. Sorry. Still love his podcast, though. I just skip through the stuff that's boring. Point is, the surfing, why did I even mention the surfing? I think I was trying to make 2 points. One of those points is when you're using a fiberglass board, which is a proper surfboard, in the newer way of making surfboards, not like the OG where you take a tree, and you carve it down to the right size. Koa wood, I think, was the Hawaiian koa tree or something, but yeah, koa wood, I guess, made like the best boards way back in the early days of surfing. So nowadays we use proper fiberglass. The point of this is they are much heavier, sharper, and if they have a point, it's more pointed. So they're heavier, they're sleeker on the water, so they move faster, and they are stronger, more durable. So with my foam board, my 8-foot Wave Storm foam board, there's a sleek plastic layer or base for the surfboard, and then it's like a foam top. That's the part that's colorful, and you lay on, you surf on, you stand on. So if that hits you, it's plastic and foam. So if a wave takes your board and it goes flying and it smacks Junior in the head, or if you hit yourself, it's not going to hurt as much if it's a soft board versus a fiberglass board, which is hard and durable and meant to deal with heavy waves from a heavy, powerful ocean. So I'm kind of okay with not buying the best of the best because I can't handle that equipment yet. And right in the middle of my journey of learning how to surf, and I don't even know, where did I get this shirt from? Rhode Island, possibly? I actually don't remember buying this shirt at all. I don't remember. I don't remember. It had something to do with Rhode Island, though. It could have been out there. So yeah, and right when I was learning how to surf and properly making surfing a part of my lifestyle, that's when my free trial ran up. And then winter came around, and I, lost my apartment and everything else. If you guys want to go back through previous podcast episodes or just checking out the different uploads I've done here on the Davon Raymond X YouTube channel, there's another good reason for you to subscribe, so you can see those videos when I post them. It's not just not just surfing content, just content about life. And when I was moving, a lot of things were happening. A lot. Mentally accepting the fact that I'm going back to my mom's house. Dealing with drama, fighting with my family member, my stepfather. I was at his, camp thing in, a nice area in Rhode Island. And it was there. I was living in a summer home thing for a couple of months. And that was awesome. I was living there with my cat and having, arguments with my stepfather and just, dealing with, outside of that, just lies and pressure and stress. Meanwhile, feeling like I just lost my apartment and now I'm living in a summer home and arguing with someone and, my cat, I'm dragging them through all this stress and I decide that, after failing to find a new apartment and failing to save money and just making all these not good decisions, to be honest, like based on stress and being upset, I just do everything I can to just separate myself from the stress. So I said, fuck it, Mom, if you'll let me, I just want to come back home, period. Let me just come back home. And if she was okay with it, which she wasn't thrilled, but she was like, well, all right. And that's basically what it was. So, I had to decide to give my cat away to the ASPCA, which I made a video about that. I, had to come to grips with the fact that I failed with this one apartment after 8 months. I failed with so many jobs out there in Rhode Island. Fail. And, then eventually living with family at their place and then had arguments there. And then it just was coming to grips with a lot of things that were negative at once. So I wasn't overly thrilled about just my mindset when I was transitioning from Rhode Island back to New York. So I had that kind of be the thing that I left the stress behind in Rhode Island, basically, and I said, all right, fuck it, I'm going back home. Shortly after, or in my transitionary period of moving back to New York, I was on the phone with a toxic friend of mine who I dated years ago, and they were young then and they're young now. Never a minor or anything disgusting. I just mean I was 24, they were 19, or I was turning 24 and they were 19, and we were working at the same grocery store in the capital of New York, and things didn't work out then because of the obvious age gap, and just I was living on my own and they were still living at home and being young. We just had different perspectives in life, to be honest. But we both smoked weed, so it seemed like that's the thing to do. I'm just getting a lot of text messages right now during this, which is kind of annoying. Sorry. But then, I moved back here. They're all excited about me moving back to New York, and then we date, and then it just falls to shit. All the previous arguments we had 5 years ago, we had them all again now. We dated for a month this time. Previously, we dated for a week. Just literally stupidity repeating itself 5 years later. So dumb. But, we did that, and I'm glad that that's behind us now. We've long broken up, and toxic bullshit for the past 6 months. I've been back home. You guys know the stress I was under, giving away my cat and all that stuff, and moving back to New York, immediately stepping into a dating situation with someone who I stopped dating a long time ago they didn't want to date me anymore, but ultimately we had a lot of toxic bullshit over years of talking and stopping talking and talking again, and then we decided, because I moved away, let's date again. And I was really seriously heavy for them because I knew I loved or felt really much for them previously. So many years later, things are happening in my life. I'm a little bit stressed. Now this girl back in my life, she wants to date again. Oh my God. We got a job together and everything. And we had to plan to get an apartment out here in, upstate New York. And we're going to move eventually because I knew I wasn't going to live out my days in upstate New York. That wasn't going to happen. Especially if I'm dating someone, because that just means, okay, you're either going to get an apartment here and stay there, or you're going to be living in this area. Oops, now you got a baby. Now you have to stay here, whatever. It's fuck that. I'm not going to do that. I want us to date, get our life together. You want to go back to college, I'll support you. Maybe you'll motivate me to do the same, and then we'll just support each other on our way up the ladder, pursuing our dreams, having that support system, having that love, having that partnership. All of that, it seemed like that's what was happening. But ultimately, it was a facade, toxic drama bullshit, and, I ended up spending a lot of time when I wasn't dealing with them and fighting with them. I was dealing with a friend who is from like elementary school age that we've known each other for years, and we've hung out tons. You know, especially more so as I got into teenage years, we hung out a ton. For a while, they were like my only friend who I spoke to on a daily basis for a very long time. You know, I mentioned them here on this channel, and you know they've got their own life going on, and you know, with having stress with them, because I'm still my own person. I'm still gonna, you know, be annoyed by particular things and not like particular things. You know, I kept them around, and we just had, you know, a good friendship for a while. And lately, I've been really stressed, and I just didn't like how the conversations were going down between my friend and I. So I just decided, you know, and there were some other contributing factors, but I was just like, you know, just it is what it is, man. And you know, I stepped away, and I think they understand why I did that. But ultimately, that is where I'm at. I was on this adventure, then I was met with friends and family and a relationship, and then all of that kind of went away. Well, it didn't just go away like that. It went away with a struggle and stress and arguments and frustration that eventually led me to be like, okay, all right, you know, like let me just back the fuck away from everyone, or rather, everyone back away from me. So I can really focus, because when I was dealing with these people, I would say, hey, good friend of mine, I'm feeling lost in life. And they basically gave me no help at all. Genuinely. Literally, I'm sorry, but they gave no advice, no words to console my frustration. There was no acknowledgement of how lost I felt. So when I would tell my mother or my friend or my ex, who I was still entertaining after we broke up, you know, I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling like, you know, I was dating you. Like I would tell my ex, like, hey, we were dating and now we're not dating and we're still talking, and I feel super lost because I just moved back and I don't want to be living here anyway, but I don't know what the hell to do. And what do? I just feel so lost. And, you know, my ex was just literally, I mean, there are days where she'd be like, go pursue your dream. It's just like, okay, that's great. And then other days they'd be like, you know, you're a scumbag, you're a piece of shit. So, you know, it just is very frustrating to be where I'm at now, because my mother has given me, in the previous, like when I first moved, she gave me until June to find a plan to get the fuck out of her house. Now, she never said, you're a scumbag, get the fuck out. She was like, I saw how you were. No one helped you. You saved up your money, you kicked ass, and you moved, and you left to Rhode Island to go pursue a whole different life. You did that, and no one fucking told you or helped you. No one. You just fucking went and did it. So now you're back here, go do that again. You know, you shouldn't need any more, like, you've already done it. So this isn't a negative thing. She's literally like, go. Like, don't feel trapped. Get your money and get the fuck out of here. Go pursue your life. Enjoy your life before you waste it. And I love that. I love that. So then I'm left with, well, I have support from the person who's letting me stay in her house, my mom. She wants me to go pursue my life, so I have permission, you know, to live here and to go do whatever the hell I want. So, and I give myself permission. So there's nothing wrong. There's nothing stopping me from doing anything. But there's also nothing motivating me. When I watch these, and when I would tell my friends and close ones, they would all just kind of be like, because ultimately, what are they going to tell me that's going to resonate with me, that I'm going to run with, and it's going to be any more of a solid, you know, answer or course of action compared to any of the things that I've come up with myself, pursued, and then ultimately left behind. The idea is that I am tired or sick of the idea of just never, I don't know. I guess if I just think about it in the most open and emotionally honest way, I really liked the security of having a girlfriend who we discussed, you know, a plan for life. So then it was simple, and I had motivation to do the things that are annoying, like fill out applications and call a bunch of companies and work a job that you don't like because ultimately you're off the clock, your life is pretty decent. you know. And it's not enough for me to just have low to no rent, living in my bedroom where I have all the luxuries that I could want. You know, as far as, all the amenities anyway, there's heat and there's, internet, and I could just order DoorDash all day and be on the internet all day and no one's going to stop me. But I know that I get extremely depressed and pessimistic about everything when I do that for like more than a couple days. When I stopped working thinking that I was going to be back to work within like 2 weeks. Now it's been a month. It's been a month of me not waking up and going to work. It's been a month of me being in my bedroom. Yeah, I'll go out to the park, or I'll go out here, I'll go out there, and I'll deal with life. But I'm not working. I'm not earning any money. I'm not working on anything. I'll sit in front of my computer, and I'll think, I guess I can make a YouTube video, and I grab my tripod, and I grab my stuff, and I go out into the world and I do a lazy vlog, and then I just feel like, well, my life still sucks. It's not that it sucks like it's actively bad. It's just boring, and I'm not pursuing anything. Ordering food, spending savings, and watching different anime is not a life that a 29-year-old wants to live. Never mind not having a life partner for 2 seconds. Having an idea for what I even want anymore, that is where I struggle. And in the previous lazy vlog, I think I talked about how I wanted to pursue acting again. Because I thought, well, I remember that was the thing that I really hooked on to, that I really felt like this is what I want, this is what I should be doing. And in that video, I remember feeling like the reason why I stopped pursuing it was shame. I felt ashamed because my previous acting experience and how I stepped away from acting, and it was all just drama-based why I left, meaning like stupid, that I got a role and got the script and then quit on them. That was not cool. But at the time, I was dating this woman. I was 21. They were 39 or 40. Or I was living with their kids and living in a different town. It was just me doing crazy stuff as a young person. And at the time, I'm like, I don't care about acting or this woman or her kids. I am done with all of this. And then I just simply stopped pursuing acting. But it wasn't just because of, the fact that I was dating that woman or whatever. It was because I also was losing confidence. I felt like my teeth weren't like TV ready. They weren't TV teeth, they weren't, my hair, I didn't like the way my hair was. It was either too short or not. Yeah, it was just never long enough for the looks that I wanted. Just a lot of different, like, over time, just, I bled off the confidence that I had for acting, which is weird because ultimately I probably just made a bunch of excuses over time. And then eventually was like, I guess those excuses make up the bulk of my whatever it is I'm trying to say. I guess those excuses work for whatever the hell I was saying. I forgot. Take a sip of water and it wipes away your memory. Ultimately, I forget whatever point I was trying to make, but there was a lot of crazy stuff going on with acting. And now that I feel in the video, I say, hey, I want to pursue it again. I think I just wanted to accept that the reason for my lack of pursuing anything was a result of shame, because I just uncovered shame about other things in my life. So I felt like, cool, I kind of released that, and now I can maybe entertain acting again. I'm scrolling on websites, I'm looking at different roles, I'm thinking, how can I do this, how can I do this again? And a brother of mine has always been interested in rapping, and there have been I guess I would rather them share their story with you. But there have been times in their life where rapping was worth, or was the focus, and where the bulk of their efforts was going towards, and there were other times where rapping was put on the back burner. And the reason why I mention this is because I felt similarly about acting, but it's not just acting. I felt similarly about multiple things, and I'll tell you what they are. Acting was the first thing I thought I wanted to do. Beyond that, I thought, from what I can remember, I thought I wanted to open like a corner store. After that, I thought science was more interesting, so I wanted to pursue like marine biology, and then beyond that, I was interested in astrobiology, which is probably the thing I would study. Astrobiology, that's astronomy, and also biology. That would be very cool. Those two things are very interesting to me. But that it got to a point where for each one of these things where I'm like, I'm pursuing this. And then, by the way, more recently, I thought I was going to pursue being working for the Department of Environmental Conservation or something along the lines of I had an interview lined up, which I never took, for to be a volunteer park ranger. Oh, no, I think you get paid. Seasonal park ranger at a state park in upstate New York, and I just, pissing away all of these potential opportunities that I pursued. Nobody dropped them in my lap. I just decided, I want to pursue this, I want to pursue that. And it always was a short-lived interest to then be replaced, and this makes me so heartbroken, and it doesn't, but it's more shame that I don't want to admit or consider the fact or the potential that surfing was just the next thing for me to find an interest in, pursue it, because I always have the balls to pursue the thing. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, I'm going to go do it. So then I went back to college multiple times, you know what I mean? Like for those different things, I went to acting classes to pursue that and improv theater class. I applied at least to the seasonal ranger job and chatted with people on the phone at the particular park. So, and then beyond that, I talked because New York State also has the parks. Shoot, it's like park, rec, and historical preservation, something like that. So, yeah, so they have like different departments. So I've chatted with this one woman, Heidi, who runs one of the mansions in the capital of New York for like the historical sites, and she was like, hey, you could apply to work here or whatever. So like I made conversations, I pursued it to a degree before I felt like I'm more interested in this other thing. So I really just wonder, why am I so without permanence? I mean, is everyone like this? I really don't know. Maybe that's the case, and if so, can we start talking about it, please? Can we start talking? I mean, is it just a trope of being 29, late 20s, living back at your mom's house? What the hell do I do with my frigging life? I mean, like, genuinely. I tried this, it didn't work. I tried that. Maybe I try this again. It's like, I don't want to waste any time pursuing things I've pursued in the past. And is it really a waste of time to pursue them again if I go about it differently? But ultimately, is it that I want redemption, or is it genuine interest in this topic? And because I know in my heart that I felt the same level, the same depth of interest and seeing my future projected from this pursuit of this activity, be it surfing, I can see a life with being a surfer. Science, I can see a life with being a scientist. Dating this girl, I can see a life with dating this. It's like everything is legitimate. And when you start delegitimizing these things, like you're not qualifying these things that used to be good to go, they're now no-goes, but they all were on the same level of interest, then it feels like nothing is worth anything. Or everything is worth everything. But if everything's worth pursuing, and also you're likely to drop everything, then what do you do? I guess you just do what feels good. And that's fleshly desire. As a Christian, not just the cross on my chest or the Bible over my shoulder, as a pursuing, aspiring Christian, as a young, inexperienced Christian, as an ignorant Christian, as a lukewarm Christian, many words to describe the same person who believes in Jesus but is not well read and does not know all the answers to your questions. It's very like, okay, God, I've tried pursuing these things. They didn't work for whatever the reason was. Let me pursue you. And God, have you, as I type into Google search or on YouTube search, can God tell me what to do with my life? Like, where's God when I need guidance in my life where I have no direction whatsoever? And I guess as a Christian, you are going to have times where you have greater faith, and there are going to be times where you struggle to find faith. So imagine adding that extra layer in purpose and direction in life when you feel that, well, I was pursuing these things and they're all just not, they seem like I don't know if I want to pursue them anymore because of how quickly I was able to just dash them away, or they were ripped away from me. So because I have those things behind me, and I think God is the one that I need to look to for my future, so I'm not just looking in the past all day long, I'm looking forward to think, okay, so looking forward means looking to God. God will be my guidance, and that's all I need to worry about. Amazing. Good. In fact, because God, if they're involved, well, this should be freaking sweet. But with, like I said, I don't have the world's strongest faith at all. And when I'm coming from that shit behind me, and then looking to God for direction, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're not going to fucking answer you. Hey God, I'm super lost and I'm willing to do whatever the fuck you drop in my lap. Please just tell me what I got to do. And then you don't get an answer. And it's not like a direct, obvious, please do exactly this. Because that's the world that we live in. We live in a world of tangible things happening sequentially for the most part. So, and by that I mean in order to get a car, you have to have income or whatever. In order to get income, you have to qualify for the job. And, it just, there's if this, then that all over the place. So it's very annoying where I'm at now. Where I'm like, okay, I'm a Christian. I know that I believe that if I pursue Him, my life will be whatever He wants my life to be. And I know that if I do not pursue Him, it's going to be whatever is based on the decisions that I make, sans God. That means without considering Him. That means without putting His values above what I'm interested in, and speaking back to the flesh when I'm lost and I have nothing to do and I'm not getting any direction from God. Now I'm feeling like, okay, well, wherever the wind takes me is wherever, because I'm reaching out for help. I'm reaching out for help. And this is very frustrating as a Christian. It's like, so I'm reaching out for help, and I'm the one telling people that I believe in God, and I'm the one telling myself that I believe in God, and I'm the one thinking about God when things happen. But then, they're not, when I'm begging, for the love of you, please just give me some direction for my life. What do I do? I have the energy, I have the mindset, while I still have the physicality. Allow me to pursue whatever the fuck it is I'm supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, I'm looking at God because I have to take a pill every morning to address my, ankylosing spondylitis, my body pain. I'm getting weird answers from my doctor like, your levels seem to be lower and you're having pain in all over your body, It's just like, what the fuck? So, and then sometimes the body pain gets in the way of me and my purpose. Now, it never did when I thought about surfing, because I thought about that as exercise. But when I do these jobs just to piece together a paycheck to pursue whatever it is I'm interested in, and I'm facing body pain, and I'm dealing with this purpose thing like, oh my God, I'm working this job. I hate it. I'm willing to do it for money. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with body pain. I'm taking this damn drug for it. It's giving me problems. I'm having problems otherwise. And I'm hearing, pray to God, pray to God. Well, Christ Almighty, do something about my body pain or do something about helping me have some purpose in this fucking life. Because if you're not doing either one of those things, I don't know what the hell you're doing for me. And, it sucks to... Look, I say that on the fence because everyone... I don't mind saying the thing that we are thinking. It has to be said for me to know that you got an accurate representation of what it is I'm going through. And I know there are certain things where are just like, okay, well, I might feel that, but I shouldn't post it online. No. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that I am believing in God, and yet I'm not, having this guidance where I'm in a place where I'm begging for it. So, it's frustrating, and like I said, there are times where I struggle to find any faith at all. And there are other times where I'm just bathed in that feeling of okay, nice, wow, wow, I can't believe it, oh my God. When those things happen, it's incredible. It is. But I don't care about random happenstance and little pick-me-up happy situations that worked out in my favor. I'm talking about genuine guidance, genuine path being laid. I know, I guess that's just... The point why I say all this is because if you think about it in a nihilistic, non-Christian mindset, then everything is just society, and society just is whatever, and social constructs, and there is no purpose. There's just living, and if you die, then you died, and hopefully it wasn't horrible, but you didn't become alive with any purpose behind you breathing and waking up. It's just a biological function, and your safety is a function of society. So, generally speaking, when you're out and about, you can use cars, public transportation, go to a restaurant, get a job, pay your bills, go to the library. You can do all these things within society, and you choose your purpose because you have autonomy. Now, that is depressing, but also, it's depressing as shit, to be honest. But it's also, freeing up a bit, because then you're not looking to this thing, that which is supposed to guide you, that which is supposed to be almighty, that leaves you in the cold and in the dark when they choose, apparently. I don't like that. It's very frustrating. So if you have that mindset, it can be very well, screw this God thing, I'm just going to go pursue the flesh. No, I don't, and by that I mean, do what feels good, and who cares? Who cares? Have 10 girlfriends, have 10 boyfriends, you know what I mean? That's not me. But the point is, those who would do that probably don't have God in their lives, certainly don't, would be my view. So, it's frustrating. So I'm not just lost in life because I'm not dating someone, or because previous things I've pursued in the past don't work out, or didn't work out, or because I feel lost in big part because I feel this massive need to give credence to Jesus and to funnel my life through the Jesus funnel. Which is fine, but fuck. Talk to me. If you're not going to talk to me, then how are you going to expect there to be anything? This is humanity in modern times. But again, I'm young, I'm 29, I haven't lived through too many tragedies, so people, they find God along the way in their journey, and I think that's very possible for me too. I'm just really giving you guys an insight to the degree that I am aware of the perspective that I have, why I have it, and sorry about that break, that pause in the recording. I just heard somebody cleaning up in the hallway or doing whatever they're doing. So I'm just gonna wrap up this episode. I appreciate you guys so much for listening in on where I'm at, why I feel I'm very lost and spinning in circles, because I literally am. I was just on YouTube yesterday looking up how to move to Japan. You know, I remember years ago, or months ago, I made a video saying Japan or bust. I want to move to Japan because I wanted to escape this feeling that I feel right here. It sucks. And it sucks because when I think about leaving the area, I know, well, that means I'm going to have to, consider the drugs that I'm taking for my arthritis, and how am I going to acquire them? If I stop taking them, is that going to be worsening for my condition? If I start taking them and I fly somewhere, and then immediately am I going to have extreme body pain? It's like I moved to Japan, but now I have debilitating body pain. So, it's that. I look up the life of somebody moving to, North Carolina, and then I think about, Jersey, I can move there. I just think about all these different things, and it's so messy. But ultimately, all of those ideas are just trying to make my life be something that is worth waking up to. And that feels like, and part of that means that I want to have a sense of adventure. I want to have a sense of the accomplishment part of it. You haven't accomplished anything if you're living in your mom's house. You haven't accomplished anything if you're living in your neighborhood. You haven't accomplished anything if you are still here. So that's where I feel I'm at. I'm going to get going so I can record very possibly a lazy vlog out in the world. So thank you guys so much for checking out the Piece from These podcast. Be sure to subscribe and try to stay positive if you can. I know that I hit you with a lot of more negative stuff, because that's literally where I am. Somehow I still have optimism that life will be good, but I'm so lost that I don't even know what to pursue anymore. I don't even know if it's worth putting in an application anywhere. Seriously, I'm at that level of arrested movement, arrested thought. Any advice would be definitely appreciated. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out Dave on Raymond X here on YouTube, and you can check out my lazy vlogs where I take out my camera, walk around in the world, chat about whatever's going on that day, share a little bit. It's kind of like the mini podcast updates, hellos, and then goodbyes. So, cheers to everyone watching. I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.